This is our second video about UIL editorial writing, and it can be used for the UIL competition or just as a refresher for how you write editorials in journalism. In this video, we're going to look at how you actually put together your written editorial piece and what the structure of an editorial looks like and about how long it should be. So you've seen the prompt here for editorial writing, and we talked through that in the last video. And what I want to show you is what a sample editorial looks like here. So the first thing I want you to notice is that compared to a feature story and even a news story, editorials don't have to be very long. This example they provide is about 348 words, and that's not a whole lot. When you consider writing your editorial, you want to be around the 400 word mark or less. Longer than that, and you're just saying more than you need to often for these UIL editorials. There are situations where an editorial may need to be longer, but in UIL, generally, that's what you want to shoot for. So the key is saying what you need to say, providing support for it so it's clear, and then knocking out anything extra because you want to hold your audience's attention and you want to get through it clearly with not that many words. When it comes to the structure of an editorial, this is the great graphic that they always use in UIL training for how to write and structure this editorial. And if you can remember this little person and how it works, you should have the perfect structure for your editorial. The head of the editorial, which means the first thing you would write about here, is the introduction, which simply you're presenting the problem or situation. You're explaining what the problem or the situation is that you're going to be taking a stand on. So in this piece here, this first paragraph right here just sets up the problem really clearly, gives all the info so that people understand exactly and specifically what the problem is. In response to the student council request for a longer lunch period, Principal Alan Felder has proposed eliminating the student broadcast, News Nation, from fourth period and adding those 10 minutes to the lunch period. News Nation instead would air before school and be available on the school website. Students will vote on the proposal February 15th. The next step in that structure is then really clearly taking a stand and saying exactly what the staff stand is. Remember, you're not writing in that first person I. Don't do that. You're writing in we, okay? We. It's a staff opinion, okay? So if you look over here, this is them taking a stand here. Very simple, very clear. Don't get too complicated when you take a stand because you risk being misunderstood or not being clear. Very simple sentence. They say, students should vote yes to the proposal. Simple, clear, and clean. Don't get too crazy with your take a stance sentence. And the good news is for these UIL writings, there's not a right or wrong stance to take. It's just you either took a stance or you didn't. Now, the body of your editorial right here is made up of several different things. You can order these things in the body however you want for impact, but generally this is what you're seeing. Your first reason for taking the position you took needs to be very obvious. So here's that. You can see it here. Currently, students have only 28 minutes for lunch. By the time students stand in line and get their food, students have no time to eat. Students scarf down their meals in a matter of minutes. Not only is this stressful for students, it isn't healthy. And now they're bringing their evidence. So they gave their reason, and now it's really important that you have evidence for all 3 points here. So now you can see here's the evidence. The digestive system needs time to send signals to the brain as to when the stomach is full. Now this person had to do some research or know about that ahead of time in order to have that good backed up with evidence. So again, you can see they do the same thing here for reason number 2. They have it covered here. Okay, reason number 2. Lunch also is a time for students to connect with their peers and rejuvenate between classes. Teens need time to socialize and gain energy to finish the day out. Students are expected to be in class and learn the majority of the day. Lunchtime is a necessary break for students. As the schedule is now, students don't have a sufficient break. So you've got your position and you've got evidence. It points to the current schedule and you know exactly that they don't have enough of a break and that students need that. Notice the length of these reasons and evidence. On this one, you've got 1, 2, 3 sentences. On this one, you've got 3 sentences. You do not need to go on and on and on with these reasons. Say it clearly, say it cleanly, say it powerfully, and get out. You're going to notice the same thing here for reason number 3. Reason number 3. Additionally, the broadcast will be available for viewing on the school website, and it will air at 7:45 a.m. before school every day in the cafeteria, the lecture halls, and library. This gives students ample opportunity to watch the program. There's your reason and your evidence, and that one only needed 2 sentences to do. So that is perfectly fine. Now this is an important key right here between the good editorials and the great editorials. So you need to make sure you do this. You need to make sure somewhere in here you're addressing opposing viewpoints and explaining why they're wrong. So if you look at this example that we have here, you get this additional paragraph where they do exactly that. They tell us exactly what the opponents to this position are saying. Opponents of the proposal say News Nation is vital to the school and connects students, but it's not more vital than eating lunch. Boom. They've rebutted it right there. Yes, people are saying that it's really important and that it connects students and it serves a purpose, but it's not more important than eating lunch. That's their rebuttal. Right now, every day, some students are paying for their lunch when the bell for class rings. 10 minutes will give all students the necessary time to connect with their peers and enjoy lunch. Finally, what they're looking for you to do is then end that editorial, and they're looking for 2 things. They want you to present a logical solution and recap the staff stance. Now, of these 2, probably one of the most important things that judges are going to look for is right here. Your opinion piece, your editorial, is worthless if it doesn't present a logical solution. There's a famous saying about opinions that I cannot repeat on here because it's a little vulgar. But essentially it says, opinions are something everybody have, and they usually stink. The worst thing you can do with your publication or on one of these UIL things is just complain about something without offering a solution. Anybody can do that. What makes a journalist special when they write an editorial, a staff write an editorial, is that they actually offer something as a solution, some way out of this problem. If you don't have this, you are not going to do well in this, and you're not really writing an editorial. You're just complaining. So if you look, this leg of the structure body, one way to see this is to look for a specific call to action. So you have here, when it's time to vote, students shouldn't hesitate to say yes to a longer lunch. It's telling you exactly what you should do. It's a specific action, and that's so important. You want to give a direct action, something for people to go do when they're done reading this article. What are they supposed to do at the end? That is presenting a logical solution. That is giving them a direct action. That's the same thing. That's what you want to do. And then you also want to recap the staff's stance, and they do that really well here. They, in one sentence here, kind of reminded us what the situation was, and then right here in these sentences, and this sentence here, it recaps their position really well. And once you've done all of these things, you don't need to do a whole bunch more. Notice the length of this. Again, keep that in mind. Just be clear, be strong in your writing, and this editorial really writes itself. Of course, remember to use AP Style, and if you haven't done so, check out the AP Style Guide videos and make sure to review those so you know what you're doing with that. So once you've got that down, one of the biggest issues is students take a stand, they give a lot of reasons, but they don't give any evidence. Evidence is what students struggle with. Evidence is things like examples, illustrations, specific experiences, and then a really good trick that helps a lot of people sometimes, you can even draw comparisons and contrasts to other things. Those could be nice, short, powerful pieces of evidence for all the positions you're taking. So make sure you have good evidence, use some of these strategies, and you should do well.